Hello and welcome to your weekly ray of electric car sunshine brought to you from the gang at electrifying.com. On the podcast this week, we have spotted Range Rover's top secret electric car testing in the most glamorous place imaginable, the good old M40. We'll be talking about Tesla's colourful way of saving you cash, and Ford confirms pricing for its new Puma Gen E. Welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour. I'm Ginny.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Mike.
Yeah, it's nice to be together again. It's been a while since we've been on the podcast, the three of us. How are we all?
Good.
Good.
Yeah. Enjoying the sun?
Yeah. Very much so.
I am.
Very
Although it's
much
quite cold here today. I was out in Barcelona yesterday on the Ford thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. And it feels quite chilly to me here today. But it's lovely.
Oh,
Sunny.
you got acclimatised in 24
I
hours,
know.
Vic, did you?
Poor me. First world problems and all that.
The thing that I'm loving most about this weather is how the efficiency on my electric car has shot up.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it good?
Yeah. For the first time ever, my buzz has been in 200 miles plus.
Yes.
So.
Yes. We won't need to moan about
difference.
it again, hopefully, until at least October.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's been a long, miserable winter, hasn't it? And not even Easter yet. It feels like this year's dragging on in some respects.
It has been the longest year imaginable. Mike, let's kick off with talking about what we've been driving. And how are you getting on with your buzz? Because I don't think we've had a proper chat about it.
We haven't really, no. I mean, we didn't get off to the best of starts, really. It threw up loads of errors, and I had a 12-volt failure. Then I had lots of, the usual kind of thing. And I thought, hopefully buying one 2 years after it had launched, most of those things are behind out. But it's been okay. It's been okay. There's been the occasional time you think, this is right, it's working fine now. The other night, I got back from running club and had a shower, had some dinner, went out and looked outside. I thought, well, the headlights are still on.
Oh, yeah.
So the car was all switched off and everything. And interestingly, I spoke to an engineer, a guy who works with these cars for the press office at Volkswagen, and he called them little princesses. He said they need to have a routine. And what I hadn't done is, and I'm terribly lazy, and I won't go on about this, I don't always lock the car when I leave. So I live in the middle of nowhere, and I often need to one of us needs to get in the car, get stuff out of it. So I am quite lazy. Sometimes I don't lock it. And it needs to be locked. Otherwise, it doesn't reset everything. The Hyundai and the i3 are fine. They're okay. But apparently it needs a very strict set of instructions. So if you don't lock it, and it doesn't then reset itself. So you end up with all these kind of odd bugs and things creeping in. So since I've had that advice and I've been locking it properly, it's been, touch wood, been okay. So it's been all right.
Can we officially call her that now, the little princess?
Yeah, I mean,
I think that is now her name, right?
Yeah,
the little princess. That's.
He told me stuff that I couldn't possibly repeat on this podcast about early days of MEB cars in the UK. But it was it's very, suffice to say, it was very interesting.
That's for the Kilowatt Half Hour Uncovered.
Uncovered,
at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
On that subject though of like being quite lazy with your cars, I got really used to the Cupra. I was running a Cupra Born for a while, and it just automatically, you get in and it starts. You don't need to turn it on, And I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
And
I do that in the i3. I get out of it and it's pinging away and I think, what's wrong with it? And it's because
I have to turn you on. So I may have left a recent car that I was driving on quite a lot of the time because I'd literally just given the Cupra back. So sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm the same. I do the same thing because I spend a lot of time in an old Tesla Model 3 at the moment, and I just keep getting out of everything and not turning it off, and you just assume that it's going to turn itself off and lock itself, and you're like, oh, okay.
I know.
But
Right, like you say, first world problems. Vic, what have you been driving? Puma. Do you want to share a bit? You went off on you basically, let's just be honest for the listeners of this week's podcast. Welcome everybody. Vicky has basically just been on a girls' trip to Barcelona. That's what happened.
Did look it.
That's what it was. You and Nicola, you went, you went on a girls' trip.
We did. We had a proper girls' weekend away midweek as official work, basically. Yeah, it was lovely. We went to Barcelona with Ford. We shared a car. We drove around the mountains in the new Ford Puma Gen E, which I think probably, some of you probably know, we've been waiting for this for quite a long time, haven't we? They've been saying an electric Puma's coming for quite a while. and it's finally here. It's actually on sale now in dealerships too, so it is actually here. You can order it and all that. It's good. I'm really pleased. I think it's good. I think if anything, I think this is going to be by far the biggest selling of Ford's electric cars, and I think it will take a good chunk out of the big sellers in this sector, because it's fun. It feels like a Ford to drive. It's compact, but it's really spacious inside. The deals on it, I think, need to get a little bit better, the monthly deals. But priced from £30,000 for the entry level one, from under £30,000, and then 32 for the top spec premium. So you get pretty much everything you want. Even on the base spec one, it's pretty well equipped. Although heated seats are a £350 option, even on the premium, which I find weird. I'm like, of all the things that you want on an electric car, I know, heated seats. So, but it's £350, so it's not a lot. But yeah, that's the one option you are definitely going to want to add.
At least it's an option, and I will
Yes.
refer back to this in a little while when I talk about what I've been driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
I know that we were talking about Puma this morning, weren't we? We had a good old, we had a good chat about cars.
We did.
We did, and I'm not sure that it's going to have enough range in winter. I'm just not.
I don't know. I mean, the problem is, I think I'm convinced that there are so many people out there who just don't need a huge range.
I agree.
I'm really pleased that the Puma hasn't got, an absolute. Well, I don't know. I'm really pleased that the Puma's motoring on efficiency, because we were driving it. We were driving it quite fast. We weren't, making any concessions for efficiency. We were driving normally, and it was quite warm. But we got 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. There was somebody out there that got 5 miles per kilowatt hour out of it.
Wow.
It's a really efficient car. So I think this is one of those cars, it sort of makes me think a little bit of the Mark 1E Nero, where the range maybe not be incredible, but because the actual real world efficiency is genuinely very good, you might get very close to the WLTP claimed in a way that you won't in rivals that have a longer claimed range. So I think it's going to be one of those, we're going to need to spend more time with it in the UK. And like you say, try it in winter.
That's going to be the kicker for me, I think. When we were talking this morning and you were saying early signs are that perhaps it's not that happy in colder weather, I think that will be the challenge, is how much it drops off in winter. If it could stay at this range, all year round and just drop a little, and if it's going to drop a lot, it's going to lead you to wonder why they've not got a bit of extra out of that battery, because they're not using the full battery capacity, are they?
No, so it's quite interesting. If you're a battery geek like me. So it's got a 43 kilowatt hour usable capacity. It's an NMC, lithium ion NMC battery. It has got a 53 kilowatt hour total capacity. So the actual installed battery capacity is 53 kilowatt hours. But they are you're only charging and discharging 43 kilowatt hours of that, which is really unusual. You'd normally only get maybe 10, 15% of that kind of sort of dormant capacity in a battery. And I asked Ford, one of Ford's sort of battery boffins, about this, and it's a very nice chap, and he told me that they've done it because it helps them to maintain a faster, flatter charging curve. So the car charges at 100 kilowatts peak, and they maintain that once you've preheated the battery, which you must do via the nav in the car, they don't have a manual preheat button, because they say that customers always routinely underestimate how long it takes to preheat a battery, which I thought was also interesting information. So you need a good 30 to 45 minutes to actually usefully preheat an electric car battery, because they're so big. Less than that. So when you've got the manual buttons on, like the new Enyaq that I know Nikki's been driving, that's one thing we've mentioned we really like, the manual preheat button. BMW's got it. Quite a lot of car manufacturers do it now. But I think even I probably maybe wouldn't be giving it that much time to allow the battery to preheat until I was chatting to this guy at Ford, and I thought that's quite interesting, actually. Yeah. Anyway.
But they say every day is a school day, don't they? And I didn't, I would, like you would have thought 20 to 30 minutes max. I didn't realise that it would take as long as that. So did you know, Mike, that they take up to 45 minutes? I thought 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about, because the Ioniq 5 had it towards the later. You could only set it via the nav, but you had a little symbol that came on the battery when it was preheating, and it was about half an hour, but that was at motorway pace. So whether it kind of works out, there's already a bit of heat in there.
Yeah, I'm saying exactly this. Yeah, totally. It's because the same with the Tesla, that comes up with a little icon when it's preheating, and I've noticed that when it automatically starts preheating, sometimes it's nearly an hour before it actually gets to this. Really? 45 minutes and more. Wow. It's a very high mileage Model 3 that I'm driving, so whether that has an impact. But But yeah, so I've noticed that in the Tesla that gives it a lot of time. So like you say with the Ioniq 5. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, that's what Ford say about the Gen E. And that's why the battery capacity is as it is, which is interesting stuff, I think, for a bit of a geek like me.
No, I think
Overall, I
it's
really
really
like the car.
useful.
It's really fun. I think, I think it will do really well. The range thing, I think, is going to be really interesting to see how they market it. I don't think they're going to be making a big song and dance about it having such a small capacity, but they will obviously be, there'll be lots of stuff out there about the range, because the range isn't that far off what you get, obviously, in all the Stellantis equivalents. Your Jeep Avengers, your 2008s, all of that stuff is very similar.
Yeah,
But
I
it's a
think
much smaller battery capacity.
I think the problem is when it's up against perhaps cars like the L-Rock, because it's almost a direct head-to-head on that, and the L-Rock has more range in there, is pretty efficient as well. So I think that'll be a really interesting test to do in the depths of winter. So we can put that one in the diary for when it comes.
Yeah.
So I've spent a bit of time in the new Model Y finally, which I know you have as well, Vic. And it's all right, but it definitely drives better. Okay. I think the ride was pretty harsh on the outgoing model. Not that it stopped lots and lots of people around the world from buying them, enough people buying them to make it one of the best sellers for like the last 27 years or something. But I think it's improved. It's better. I think the quality of the interior feels better. I like the light bar at the front and the back. It looks a bit sleeker. I don't know. It just feels a bit the same to me. It doesn't feel. I kind of wish that they'd change the interiors a bit. And I do wonder if I know that what Tesla does is brilliant, which is over-the-air updates. You get the latest, software. That's fantastic. They've pioneered that. But I just do feel that there's so much competition now. What was it? When we first launched, there were 25 mainstream electric cars that were reviewed, Mike. So it's no wonder we're knackered all the time now, because we're 134 now and coming all the time. And I just wonder whether it just does this way that they approach their cars work in a market that's growing so fast and changing so quickly? I don't know. I felt a little bit. I just wanted to I still like it. I still think it's a great car. I think the supercharging network, like we always say, is one of the things that makes it a really great car. The tech works brilliantly. All the ADAS systems. Personally, don't think you need to pay for any of that. Autopilot stuff. The standard systems are just good enough. But I don't know. I did feel that it was coming out quite a bit on the monthlies. You can get a Polestar 3 at the moment for similar payments. And for me, that would be a no-brainer. I'd have a Polestar 3. Don't know. What did you haven't driven it yet, have you, Mike?
I haven't, but the way Tesla works fascinates me in so much as, the traditional car manufacturers who were made to feel like a bit old-fashioned when obviously Tesla were cleaning up with those two cars. They work on a 6-year design cycle, don't they? So they facelift a car after 3 years, replace it completely after 6 to 7 years. Tesla have always said, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do software updates. We can do that. And that kind of got them through for quite a period, didn't it? But now I think, like you say, it is, they've both been facelifted, but they're both fundamentally older cars, aren't they? It's an aging portfolio, as they like to say.
An aging portfolio.
And I don't know how much is, apparently the cheap car is going to be launched in Q2. So how many weeks left have we got all of that before?
We're in Q2, Mike. We're actually
by the end of Q2, it's going to be launched. Apparently,
we're in our second week of Q2, so it's in the next 10
2
weeks.
weeks.
So no, that's what I'm told as well. So the launch edition is going to be in dealerships and being delivered to people by, I think, May, they're saying now. And then the standard cars are only going to be a few weeks after. I don't know why you'd buy the launch edition. I find that there's just nothing. It's so much more expensive, but not
so
much more.
It's
a bit like
you get no.
So I find that a bit peculiar.
There's no Tesla badge on the front. We can all make our own assumptions why it's been debadged, but there wasn't on the one that I had. And you get this weird little sunshine plaque, like a sunrise plaque on the back of the car. And then when you turn when the car turns on, you get a sunrise coming up on the screen. And I really noticed very much extra. It seems a lot to pay for a little sunrise emblem. You could just buy a sticker, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's got, I don't know. There's like kick plates. I think it's got ventilated seats, which I think the others don't. So there are a few little bits and pieces. But I mean, it seems a lot
has got
to
some
ask.
Badging. Yeah, it is.
But no, I'm a bit puzzled by that. So, but the standard cars, I'm gonna disagree with you guys a little bit. I still think the standard cars, because they're technically actually cheaper than the outgoing ones, and yet they've got. I don't mind the interiors. in terms of quality. I mean, they're very sparse. The actual aesthetics of it is a bit boring, but I don't think the quality is too bad compared to some of the rivals. And they're so spacious inside. And the problem with Tesla is they're still, I think, if I'm honest, I still think they're up there for efficiency in battery technology.
Yeah, they are.
And the charging
Absolutely.
infrastructure is still a bonus, like a if you do high mileage, there's still quite a lot of incentives to go for I know I'm not going into, all the political stuff going on at the moment. I'm setting that to one side. People have to make their own minds up on that aspect. But I still think, objectively, compared to its rivals, I think the Model Y's got a lot going for it. I don't love it. It's not a car that I think is very charming or very lovable. It's not as comfortable as an Enyaq. And I think I'd have a Polestar 3 over a Model Y because I don't mind the public charging infrastructure. And I think the interior on the Polestar 3 knocks the socks off of Teslas for sure.
Oh, it does. It's so beautiful, that car.
It's so lovely, isn't it?
It drives.
I love the
It's
Polestar
nice.
3. It's
nicer
really
to
nice.
drive
Yeah,
as well.
I do really like the Polestar 3. I've seen
Me
a few
too.
around as well, which I'm really pleased about. But I still think I can still see why a lot of people might go for the Model Y. And also the monthlies, they're from £400 a month. So it's not bad.
Can I just clarify that when I was talking about the affordable model, not of the Model Y, I meant of the
You meant
Teslas,
the new car.
I meant
you did.
Teslas
You meant
like Model 2, whatever they were going to call it.
Model
So,
Q. Is it called Model Q? Model Q, isn't that
well,
the latest?
because that's what they told shareholders, that it was going to be launched by the end of Q2.
Well, we shall watch and wait.
I could be wrong. Let's know.
Just quickly before we move on to the news. So I have been driving a Renault 5, which I will talk about actually in the podcast next week. But so this is my new long-term car, which is great. It's going to be passed around the team. But what I want everyone listening to, well, eventually, I promise.
We'll let you know, guys, when we actually get Jenny's Renault 5 for a go. Then we'll
It is April
send
the 10th.
you a message.
Okay. All right, maybe at some point. What colour do you reckon I spec'd it in? So I had the choice of the configurator. Let us know in the comments below what colour you think I spec'd my Renault 5 in. If you really want to push the boat out, what did I do with the roof? Have a guess, see what you said. And what we'll do, the people that get it right, will pluck one at random and we'll send you an electrifying brolly. How about that? There we go. Mike's eyes are rolling in the back of his head because Michael organised it.
I don't know where they are. They're in a cupboard somewhere.
I was
Just
gonna say,
the next question.
I haven't got an electrifying brolly. I'll put a comment on the video and see if you pick my comment out for the colour, so I can get an electrifying brolly.
Okay, so let us know in the comments below. All head to the comments, guess the colour, and somebody at random will win an electrifying.com brolly. It's a nice brolly. They're a good colour. Anyway. Okay, right, let's move on. News. So, I don't know. Actually, let me kick off with news because we have a new news hound on the Electrifying team, Ben, our COO. So, Ben's the money man, isn't he? Really? Money keeps us all in check.
Yeah, I'm terrified of him.
Keeps all the checks, you mean?
Keeps all the checks.
Yeah.
So, Ben and I were going up for a meeting somewhere the other day. I think it was Tuesday of this week, and we were driving along the M40, and Ben, with his nose for a news story, was like, look, there's a secret Range Rover up ahead, it's covered. He spotted it. So I was in the passenger seat, so I was like, goodness me, you have. At first I was kind of hoping it might have been the Jag. It wasn't the Jag. It was a heavily covered Range Rover Velar that we spotted on the M40. So we've got a Q&A up about that on the site, everything you need to know about it. But yeah, it was. I was super impressed. And then Ben did his best, very safe, sort of defensive, offensive, which is it, offensive driving, so that I could get pictures and video of it. So honestly, Ben's our official now. He's our spy photographer driver. Mike's looking very cynical there.
No, I mean, it's just, I think it's one of those things, if you sat on the M40, you'd see a lot of them every day, but it's nice that you got to see. I travel like Vicky does on the A34 quite a lot, and you do get a lot of mini prototypes doing that A34 down to Winchester and back, don't you? There's often many a time I've come on a to go to the barn and seen a lot of mini prototypes, but it's exciting when you see them.
hang up
you know
between the
what?
A34 and JLR, the M40,
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah.
stretch, and up around Bicester, you do see quite
There's
a lot of
so many.
prototypes around. Yeah.
It's the first time in a while though that I've seen something properly interesting, because you do see a
Yeah,
lot, but they're
that is
usually
quite new. Yeah,
slight revisions, and you know what they are, and it was a proper like, oh, what is it? What is it?
yeah,
We've got
Mm.
go to the website electrifying.com, and it's there in news, and we've got the shots of it. And it does look quite. It's going to be a bit lower and sleeker to me in the images than the outgoing car. Of course, electric for the first time. But yeah, I know
yeah.
it's just that whole, the journalist in me was like, yes,
It
spotted
does look
it.
it does look quite estatey, doesn't it? It's
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
it's quite
Yeah.
interesting.
I was trying to
Yeah.
that. I mean, obviously that lump on the back is just packaging, isn't it, to disguise
Mm.
it? There was like a
Mm.
weird kind of lump on the back, but it looks a lot sleeker and lower.
It does.
Yeah, obviously aero, which it's going to need decent aero. God knows how much that thing weighs.
Mm.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's looking like, will they do away with a rear screen rather, like
Yeah,
I'd
I
love it
reckon
if
Polestar
they
they
do away
will.
with
4?
the windscreen. I think that might be a bit of a problem. But I mean,
Oh,
it's
it's
can you
coming,
imagine?
Vic. There'll be the day soon.
They'll do a chop
And
top with no roof at all and no windscreen, and you can literally just kind of be great.
yeah, no, it'll just be
Aerodynamically
driving
brilliant.
floors, won't it? And the front screen will be a video or something, like a video wall. That's the future, folks.
It's interesting. It's worth looking at the pictures because it is quite an interesting looking prototype, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
what else? So that was my spotted news story this week. What have you spotted in the news, Mike?
Well, the main thing that caught my eye is the government plan. The government have obviously chosen to change or tweak the parameters of the petrol and diesel ban. I mean, looking at the details of it, which I did for the Q&A that we put up on the site, there isn't a lot different to what it's hard to keep track, isn't it? First, everything was going to be banned from 2035. Then Rishi Sunak's Conservative government changed it and eased it to 2035. The Labour Party said, no, we're going to bring it all back to 2030. And I don't know what you think, but I think we've pretty much gone back to what we had in the middle, which was that hybrids are going to have an extension. The only bit of clarification I can see in that is that the mild hybrids, which is basically a sort of 48-volt alternator starter motor assembly thing, that won't be allowed after 2030. So, but the plug-in hybrids will have that further extension. Which means that
and hybrids, of course, are included in the after 20.
Hybrids will go to 2035, but plug-in hybrids will have another 5 years after that, is my understanding of the rules. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Make of that what you will.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I just kind of think they've sort of tinkered with it. Yes, they've met their manifesto pledge and reinstated the ban in 2030, but actually it's just no different to what it was last week.
No.
Because basically you'll be able to still buy everything till 2035. I think for me the interesting thing is that hybrid technology, which I think of course is cars like the Nissan Qashqai e-Power and the Toyota Prius that they're going to allow to keep on sale. Do you know, it was really groundbreaking, that, wasn't it? Back in the late 90s, whenever the Prius came out, I remember being in LA for a few weeks having a Prius. I thought it was incredible, the most exciting thing ever. And it just looks a bit, so what now? And I think when you're looking at the range you can get from good plug-in hybrids now, 70, 80 miles of range, and you look at battery technology and what an electric car's like to drive, how fun they are to drive, how quiet they can be. I just think the closer we get to 2030, as prices come down, infrastructure gets ready, gets better, I think it will be a no-brainer. I think people will just want to switch to electric, irrespective of what bans say. And there will probably be a hardcore of people who won't, and that's fine too. And then they can stick with their Priuses and their, Qashqai e-Powers or whatever other hybrids are out there. That's my thought on it. I'm not massively. I just think EVs are great, and the more people that drive them, they tell other people, and before we know it, most of us will be driving them. I don't know. What do you reckon, Vic?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, I don't think it's terribly useful to the consumer, all the sort of, toing and froing over the legislation. I think that's the most damaging thing to an extent, is just that people feel like even the government's kind of lacking confidence, which is not. It's just a kind of, like you say, because in truth, when you pull it apart, there's not really any difference. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be able to buy the cars that manufacturers have to sell and want to sell, and that's going to be electric cars. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm inclined to agree that it's in
Yeah.
total. I still think by 2030, the vast majority of sales will be pure electric anyway.
Mm.
And I don't mind that there's be some hybrids and that kind of thing still available. Like you
Mhm.
say, I think people have to go with the cars they're comfortable with, and I'm fine with that. I've
Yeah,
no
me
issue with
too.
it.
Yeah,
And I think that
exactly.
naturally EV adoption will kind of just pick up. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But like I said, I think what frustrates me is just that all the sort of political toing and throwing over it feels like it's doing more harm than the
Oh,
actual legislation that's being implemented in the end. It's kind of, do you know what I mean? It's that
yeah.
I feel like the government should be helping things rather than sort of just changing its mind all the time, really.
Yeah, like perhaps cutting VAT on public charging, that might not be a bad
Yeah,
start, instead of
incentivizing
actually
things. Yeah,
tinkering around the edges, you know?
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
anyway. Right, before we do Barnard's Bargain, I'm going to nip ahead and just talk about some of the videos that we've got coming on the channel. So if you aren't already, please do subscribe to the electrifying.com YouTube channel. If you're listening on your podcast platform, you can head over there and do that. We've got some great videos. So we've currently got first drive of the new ENIAC. I've been having a bit of a deep dive into the Kia PV5, which is, of course, the VW ID Buzz rival. There'll be a van version of that, along with a kind of an MPV people mover, and then loads of other variants and vans coming from them. We've got Puma, which will be arriving. That's there. I think that should be there already, actually. That will have hit. Got a video from me about what the shortlist is for the best cars in the world. That's World Car of the Year awards coming up. And we've also got a Zeekr first drive. So it's been busy. There's a lot happening. So yeah, make sure you check all of those out. Mike, Barnard's Bargain. I know you're not a Barnard, so what should we call it? Askews. Let us know in the comments below. When Barnard's not here, what should it be? Askews. Mike's money saving. All right,
Yeah.
I'll leave it to the audience to come up with a better name than I can.
Well, hopefully I won't have to do it every week, and Barnard will be here, and he can carry on doing his bargains. Yeah. Anyway, the two he's selected for us this week make interesting reading, as always. Ford Capri, which I'm suspecting from the amount of deals and things we've seen online, isn't selling perhaps as quickly or as enthusiastically as perhaps Ford might have thought it would. So the deal that Tom's found here is £257 10 pence per month with initial rental of £2,313, 18 months, 8,000 miles a year. That's not a lot, is it? Really, £257
No, it's
for
not.
that. So quite a big practical,
Yeah.
car.
Chunky range on that as well. It's got the
Yeah.
77 kilowatt hour battery.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
It's a lot of
that's
car for the money, that.
it is and
it is.
it's a nice Mondeo as well. That
It is.
Yeah. But it's kind of sitting in that kind of slightly unfashionable, not big car, but in the way that the kind of the Citroen, the EC4 did,
yeah.
in so much as it wasn't necessarily the kind of car people are falling over themselves to buy privately or even choosing as company cars. But in the cold light of day, the figures, that's a lot of car for the money.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is.
And I don't think it's not a bad car, is it? It's based on the Volkswagen MEB platform, so it's it's reliable. It's good. It's a good car. Have you driven one, Vicky?
Yeah, yeah. So I quite like the Capri.
Yeah,
I mean, in that
Mondeo.
I just think it's a good family
yeah.
EV, but it's not a Capri. Don't get me wrong, that annoys
No,
me.
let's ignore
And
the name.
so it's a very, it's just fine. It's just a good EV.
Yeah.
This is the problem, but it's not a Capri. So I do think sort of Ford shot itself in the foot a bit with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, for that sort of money, for the kind of range, and it's huge inside as well. It's absolutely enormous. So it is, like I said,
Yeah,
in that respect, it's a lot of car for the money.
excellent. And the other
Yeah.
car Tom's chosen is another family car, Peugeot E5008. 73 kilowatt hour battery, £324.88 per month, with an initial rental of just under £3,000. That's a 36-month contract, 8,000 miles a year. So again, big old car, under 350 quid a month. These are all leases; they're not PCPs or anything like that, so they will be a little bit cheaper. But again, a lot of car for the money.
That is
Yeah, and I still think the problem with that platform is the efficiency, isn't it? As Nick's finding with our long-term 3008, it's not good. But I would add, in terms of the packaging, the E5008, the 7-seat layout, is really good for the
great.
money. You're getting, again, as a family car, provided you're happy to live with a real-world range of God, Nick's only seeing like 200 to 250 miles, isn't she? Something like that.
And I
Even
think
with that big battery.
Dream of that.
That's improving a lot in warmer weather, but it's just not. They just do not like the cold, do they? They really don't. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
good car, the 5008.
Good stuff. Now, before we go on to your car buying questions and find out what you've been telling us this week that you like and don't like in the post bag, just to remind you, this episode of the Kilowatt Half Hour is brought to you with the help of Anderson EV. If you are into design as much as you are electric cars, you're going to love their home chargers.
Anderson's A2 and A3 aren't just functional, they are beautifully made with a choice of 200 colours and finishes, so they can blend in with your home or be made to match your car. Fancy.
There are no bulky boxes, just smart tech that looks great and it works. You can find them at anderson-ev.com. Now, car buying questions. What have we had in the post bag?
Okay, so we have had a question in from Seb Periton. Good name, by the way. I need to replace my car, which is a 2011 Volkswagen Sharon, and I'm considering a used EV. I don't need a car the size of the Sharon, but I still need a reasonably sized car for going camping a few times a year, and I also need to tow a trailer when we go camping. Okay. I need to find a car sub 20k, and I'm considering the following. So it seems like Seb's done most of the research for us here. So he's looking at a Skoda Enyaq 60 or 80, which Ginny would be very pleased to know about. Volkswagen ID4 77 kilowatt hour, iPace, Audi e-tron. But he says, I'm struggling to find information regarding towing with EVs, and I do know the above can tow. What do you think? So, go on, Jenny. What do you think?
Yeah, we are updating currently in the process, and it should actually be updated by the time you're listening to this, our towing guide on the site. So we do have a guide to the best tow cars. So if you go over to electrifying.com and search tow or towing, it will come up. It's a good list there, apart from the iPace, because it's all right, but it doesn't tow as much as the others, does it? It's a small towing capacity, 750. Audi e-tron 55, the biggest towing capacity out of that lot, 1,800 kilograms. But it's so poor with efficiency, that car. Those early Audis were not great at all, were they?
No,
that would be my caveat with that. Enyaq, 1,200 kilograms, VW ID4, and I would have thrown into the mix the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq 5. Decent towing capacities. And also the Aria, the Nissan Aria and the Polestar 2. I would have chucked in as well, would have been
I was going to say Polestar 2 was going to be, because they're great used buys, and they're surprisingly big inside.
Yeah.
No, they're because they sort of have a bit of a saloony shape. People don't think of them as practical, but they are hatchbacks. So they're pretty good.
We've talked about them a lot on the podcast recently. We've been looking, on the listing site over at electrifying.com, and you can get some Polestar 2s now, good Polestar 2s for sub 20. They're really starting to come down in price. So that would be.
And without wishing to bring Tesla into it again, you could look at Model Y. They are good tow cars. So really they're huge inside and they're good tow cars. So so that's another one to look at too.
I will raise your cars and I will add the one I quite like is a Volvo EX40.
Good shout.
Ooh,
yeah,
which is if a twin motor is 1,800 kilos.
That is a good shout.
And Volvos are good towers as well, aren't they? I mean, that started life as an internal combustion car, so it's and I know it's done well in towing awards and bits and pieces. So I think that would be one of my, and it's sort of unloved. It's kind of it goes under the radar, doesn't it? The EX40. So and I think I quite liked it when I drove it.
That's a really good shout. Let us know. And do check out the guide on the site as well, because that will have had a refresh this week. Okay, John Graham has messaged in. Hi, John. After 10 years driving my Honda Hybrid, I've gone electric, namely the Citroen EC3 in dark grey max trim, and I'm loving it. Yay! I did test drive the Renault 5, but it was low to get in and out of, dark and cramped inside. It didn't drive as smoothly. It had grabby brakes, and the PCP finance deal was easily trumped by my Citroen deal. But most of all, you only get heated seats on the top spec Ioniq model, which makes the car rapidly head towards £30,000. Yes, that has been a bit of a bugbear of ours, and I strongly suspect that is going to change going forwards. So,
do you know something? When you say that usually means you know something.
Yeah, I strongly suspect is all I'm saying on that, because I think probably people might have realised that wasn't a sensible decision to make when they were doing the product planning for that car. I suspect. Just a stab in the dark.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, reading between the lines. Yep. Okay, we get it.
One question to you. On the review, Nicola quoted the miles per kilowatt hour she was getting. I can't find that information anywhere in the car or on the app. Where was Nicola getting it from? Is it a calculation rather than a figure that was displayed somewhere? He reckons he's getting about 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour in town so far. Do we know where she got that from, any of us? Can we actually answer that question, or do we need to get Nicola on?
On the EC3, it will be... it might well be on the dash in the digital thing, but the problem is it might well not be shown in miles per kilowatt hour. So it's probably going to be shown in kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. And we will have changed it to miles per kilowatt hour, because that's what we always state on the website, because that is the sensible thing to measure it in, because it makes sense to us Brits to do it in miles per kilowatt hours.
So if you find that figure, all you need to do is put into Google, there's loads of conversion tools, and you just stick it into a conversion tool, and then you will get your miles per kilowatt hour.
Yes. Yes, or you can obviously actually do the maths if you look at your usable battery capacity. So we're going to get a guide up on electrifying.com in the next week or two about usable capacity and total capacity, and I'll put in a little thing there about how to calculate your real world efficiency. So keep your eyes on the website and we'll get something up about that.
Proper maths, just to tie in with the start of the GCSEs. Brilliant. Okay, Mike, have you got one for us?
I have indeed, yes. We've got Chris Jefferson says, "Hi all, I'm looking forward to getting my first EV and would like to get one that's made in the UK to support the UK workforce. What EVs are made in the UK and how do you rate them?" Well, this is going to be it's a modestly sized list, isn't it?
You basically need massive pockets, or you really should fancy a van, is my answer to that question.
Or a van with windows, yeah. I mean, I did look into this, and there isn't really. I mean, Stellantis plant at Ellesmere Port builds the van versions, and as far as I'm aware, the passenger versions of things like the Vauxhall Combo E and the Peugeot Partner and the Citroen E Berlingo. But if you don't want a van with windows, Chris, then it's pretty slim pickings after that. I mean, you're going to need deep pockets because it's the Rolls-Royce Spectre, as far as I can make out, and I don't know. The Lotus, the Evija, because the Electra is built in China, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Evija is still done at Hethel.
Yeah, Hethel. Yeah.
Where did Hethel come from? Hethel. It's still built there. The Mini, of course, was due to come back to Cowley along with the Aceman in 2026 as part of that massive. I think it was a £600 million investment from BMW. That's been paused. And I did actually email BMW about this recently just to confirm what was happening with that. And for the foreseeable future, both Mini Electric and the Aceman will be built in China. No update on that. So
I suppose maybe it's worth mentioning that there are cars built in France. So Renault 5 is built in Douai.
Yeah.
I realise that's not England or the UK. I am aware of that. But I live on the south coast. That's closer to me than Scotland. So
trying to mentally put that into Buy British, but anyway.
I mean, thinking of close neighbours.
I'm sure
it's not built in China.
I'm sure we invaded that part of France back in the old days, so we could lay claim to it. Agincourt and all that.
I think we've got enough political turmoil right now without trying to take over France, but I think we'll leave it to them. But I just thought I'd mention it. It's just across the channel.
Okay, and in the spirit of positivity, the next generation Nissan Leaf will, of course, be built in Sunderland. There's a few hurdles to jump over yet, I would imagine, in terms of Nissan's long-term survival. But as far as I'm aware, that's still very much part of the plan, is to build Leaf in Sunderland. So I think Micra won't be. It will come down the same line as the Renault 5, won't it? In that part of England that's called, what's it called? Douai? Yeah.
In France. That French bit of England.
The part of England where they have really nice wine and cheese. The bread is amazing in that bit.
I love that bit of England.
Yeah, me too.
You've been watching the opening credits to Dad's Army too much, Vicky. Those Union Jacks moving across. It must be that. Yeah.
I think it's a valid point. Anyway, we'll move on.
I love that, Vicky.
Trying to find the positive things to say.
Can I give a big warm welcome to somebody who's gone electric for the first time? Yay!
You can, yeah.
Woo. Stephen King. has messaged us. Went full EV today. Yes, after dipping my toe in the water with an Outlander PHEV and then a Toyota Corolla GR Sport Hybrid. I have a long history with Skoda cars, and given Ginny's love of the Enyaq, I collected an X-Demo Enyaq 85X Sportline Plus Coupe in velvet red. I love that colour.
Oh, velvet red.
Yeah,
Top spec, very nice.
Best colour.
Nice. Just driven back from the dealer in Cardiff to Dartmoor, 162 miles of mainly motorway running with the aircon on, as it's been a warm day. Managed an efficiency of 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So off to a good start to years of happy motoring. Just need to get the wall charger installed. Welcome, Stephen. That's brilliant. That's so nice to get messages like that. So if you've just joined the world of electric, let us know. Let us know what you've chosen, why you chose it. Yeah, we would love to hear those stories. So welcome to the gang. Okay, what have we had in the comments? Vic, do you want to kick off with that?
Okay, yes. So, what else have we got? Some Toyota love. So, at Neil Beardmore, I got a 4-month-old Toyota BZ4X, what we know as the Barry, amongst the electrifying crew, for a cracking price, and I found it more efficient than Motoring Report's reviews have suggested. For an example, I drove 4 of us from Stoke to Coventry and back for a football match, and the efficiency was over 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour and at motorway speeds. Plus, there's a huge benefit of up to 10 years warranty, which also includes the battery. Yeah, that's fair enough. I never got close to that kind of efficiency in the BZ4X, but
No.
I did drive it mostly in colder weather, so I wonder whether the warmer weather's having an impact on that. Because I think one of the things with the Toyota was that it was sort of established that the climate control had a really big impact on it, didn't it? Bigger than perhaps in other cars. So I think that was one of the aspects. But it's a good car. It's solid, and you're right. The sort of customer service and the support that you get and the warranties with Toyota are just fantastic. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm glad you're getting the efficiency and it's doing what you want it to do. It's a cool car.
So I've got a small dog who's wanted to come and join the podcast. Doing, Ziggy?
He's not that small.
I was going to say,
look, it's like a Chihuahua or something.
He's like the same size as you, Ginny.
Yeah.
He's very needy. Very needy, Ziggy.
If we're sticking with the subject of bad timing and dogs jumping on people's laps and everything, Alan Gravy, 27, has messaged us and said, "This is terrible time. I ordered an ID7, which was due for March delivery before the car tax change. ... It's been changed. It's been delayed. So the company car tax hit because of a production delay. I ordered it on a personal lease, which includes VED. Volkswagen are going to pay the increased VAD, which is good, isn't it? Because it was delayed and obviously it wasn't his fault. They said if I had taken it out on a PCP, I doubt they would have covered that. So there you go. So that's bad timing, but a good result in the end. As much as Volkswagen will honour that. And that's worth quite a bit, isn't it? That's thousands.
That is good. It's good that they've done that. And I'm going to wrap up the podcast for this week with another person who's managed to avoid the luxury tax, Chris Hunter, 974. Hi, guys. Just traded my 71 e-Niro in for the all-new Skoda Elroq 85 after watching your reviews. Had it a week. Love it. Few options on it. Took it to 44k, but I got it before the 1st of April, so avoided the luxury tax. It's a kicker, that tax, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Since when was an ID3 or a Kia Niro a luxury car? I just don't, or a Skoda Elroq comes to that. It's lovely, but it's not luxury car, is it?
Talking about the government being unhelpful, eh? But there you go.
Absolutely. Well, as always, it's the Kilowatt Half Hour and a bit, isn't it?
Standard.
We've got so much more stuff we haven't covered, so we're going to have to do another one next week.
We might do maybe we do a special your questions, or maybe a live stream. We'll think about doing that. But please do, as always, let us know all your comments. If you're listening on your podcast platform, you can email us, podcast@electrifying.com. Mike is the keeper of the podcast email box, and I know he replies to loads of them, don't you, Mike?
I do.
So, make sure you get in touch. You can drop us your thoughts in the comments below. We do read them, and we do love hearing from you. But we're going to wrap it up on that. So make sure you join us next week. And thanks. That's been the Kilowatt Half Hour. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.